Hey everyone, it's been 7 days since my last video, but only 24 hours since the Toronto Police Services last made false accusations against me. Hi, I'm Diana Davison. This morning I woke up to a notice from the Twitter legal team saying that they had been notified that 3 of my tweets had been identified as violating a Canadian court order. These tweets were posted on May 11th and 12th around midnight, hence the 2 different dates. These tweets were about a woman named Catherine Burrell, who had just had a publication ban on her name lifted about 16 hours before I posted these tweets. The time and date stamps are very clear on the posts in question. So I'm being harassed by the Toronto Police. I believe that the police are trying to cause me financial harm by making these threats, causing me to require the services of a lawyer. I have previously told the Toronto Police that I was seeking the advice of a lawyer, and they are aware that any threats they make towards me will require me to pay money to a lawyer for counsel. I had planned to do a different video when I woke up this morning. More about that later. For now, the Toronto Police have disrupted my life by making a claim that they know to be false. This is not the first allegation the Toronto Police Services have threatened me with, which is demonstrably false. I'm shocked. We apparently now live in a society in Canada in which the Toronto Police can abuse their position to knowingly harass and threaten a member of the public. Now, I'd do a big spiel about freedom of expression right now, but that's not even the biggest concern here. An argument about freedom of speech would imply I've done something that requires a defense. The case here is much more clear. I've not violated a court order, and the Toronto Police have accused me of such, knowing that their accusation is false. I don't need to argue freedom of speech, freedom of expression, or freedom of the press here. There was no court order for me to violate, and the Toronto Police have accused me of violating an order that they know does not exist. Maybe they forgot to inform the public that the publication ban was lifted for anyone except Diana Davison. It would be really interesting if my name was specifically mentioned as being an exception to a Canadian law, almost a privilege, if you allow me the fun use of that word. In Canada, the Toronto Police have apparently been given the liberty of having one law for everyone else and a separate law for Diana Davison. Maybe they'll call this the Diana Davison Law. I don't know. But there is one law I'm quite sure about. The Toronto Police are not permitted to harass members of the public. I've even found the page on their site that tells the public what to do if such a thing occurs. I haven't read the entire page yet, but I'm sure it ends up with bad things happening to the Toronto Police if they are found guilty. But of course, the police usually don't find themselves guilty of crimes they have committed, and usually they can keep their crimes from the public eye. And that leads us to my choice of video topic for the day. I may not be able to prevent the Toronto Police from violating my civil rights, but I can make sure that it doesn't happen without notice. Until this morning, I was under the impression that the Toronto Police had at least a small amount of ethical duty, and they would avoid falsely accusing me of a crime they know I didn't commit. Sadly, that is not the world in which we live. But I do have something positive to say, and that is about Twitter. The notification I received from Twitter of these claims against me was very professional and very informative. Hello. We are writing to inform you that Twitter has received an official correspondence from Toronto Police regarding your Twitter account at D2Davison. The correspondence claims that the following tweet is in violation of a court order in Canada, and they give 3 links. Those are the tweets that I showed at the beginning of the video. Please note, we may be obligated to take action regarding the content identified in the correspondence in the future. Please let us know by replying to this email as soon as possible if you decide to voluntarily remove the content identified on your account. If you believe we have contacted you in error, please let us know by replying to this email. This notice is not legal advice. You may wish to consult legal counsel about this matter. Sincerely, Twitter Legal. Of course, I've forwarded this email to a lawyer, but I want to thank Twitter for handling the matter in such a fair manner, informing me of the source of the complaint and which tweets had been actioned, as well as for including the suggestion that I might seek legal advice. That is very important, and they get 5 gold stars in my book. Well done, Twitter. Moving on, Toronto Police don't want me to continue my investigation of the Jian Ghomeshi trial. That, I presume, is why they have taken a great interest in me and why they wish to intimidate me. And this is where I'm going to mention freedom of expression and, I guess, freedom of the press. I have some compassion for the Toronto Police here. They fucked up. They didn't investigate, and they don't want anyone from the general public to expose that fact. I understand their concerns. I understand it, but I can't abide by their tactics here. It's a principle of the law that when you do something wrong, you should be prepared to acknowledge your wrongdoing. Toronto Police don't want to make a public apology. It's not an easy thing to do. The Toronto Police Services are much more interested in getting other people to make apologies to save them from disgrace. The Toronto Police can do this by charging a person of crimes they didn't commit and threatening them with jail. With that as a starting position, it's not that hard to get a simple apology from someone, even if they aren't guilty. Well, they aren't going to get that from me. Twitter might remove the items that Toronto Police have requested, and if they do so, I wouldn't blame them for it. They have no reason to involve themselves in someone else's legal issues. I expect that the Toronto Police will try to have this video blocked in Canada, and I won't blame YouTube if they comply with the demand. But I do blame Toronto Police for abusing their role to serve and protect the public by using their powers to silence an investigation into their conduct. If you are a person who likes to mirror videos that are under threat, this would be one to pay attention to. Canada is, apparently, not a free country. I found that out this morning, and you are now the witnesses. Next week, I'll be talking about how the CBC failed to take action to stop harassment of an employee. That employee was Jian Ghomeshi. He was subjected to sexual harassment, racism, and emotional abuse. The CBC knew about it and told Mr. Ghomeshi's harassers that they, the CBC, were not going to take action to stop it. Wait for it.
Policeman, stop traffic, policeman, stop crime. Go ask a policeman, he'll help you every time. Policeman, policeman, helps you when you're lost. Policeman, policeman, likes it, sell it, text.